Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Knit State of Mind podcast. Today is Saturday, December 5th. We're out here in Oakland, California, and welcome to episode 20 of the Knit State of Mind podcast. Thank you for joining us, all of the people who have been with us up to this point, and anyone who might be new. My name is Wanda. You can find me on Ravelry as wattywat and on Instagram as ZestInClass.
And I'm Heather, and I'm on Ravelry as heathertee and on Instagram as heathertee3, and we are also on Instagram as Knit State of Mind.
Wonderful. So we have some things to share with you today. I think Heather is wearing a finished object. I have a pretty finished object. We have some WIPs, and we just want to catch up on some of our knitalongs as well. So checking in, thank you to folks who have been posting on the Ravelry groups. We have our winter ready make along and Clear the Needles 2020. Maybe Heather will give us an update on her progress. We're getting there. It's December, people.
Yeah.
And so we're starting to gather prizes for those knit-alongs as well. So for the winter ready make along, lots of people who have been sharing so far, a little bit of motivation for those who are still getting their winter knits together. Well, knits, crochet, whatever crafts you prefer. And so with that, what we have is a couple of things from Farmer's Daughter Fiber. So not sure if people have heard of her wisp collection. There are some amazing patterns. Just flipping through, I kind of wanted to keep this for myself, but I can also purchase them on Ravelry. So the wisp collection, you might remember this pattern.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to say, you knit one of those already, right?
Yeah, so that one I jumped on once it was published. That's the Pappas hat we talked about last week. And then also, I love this pattern, so I'm probably going to make it. Heather and I was talking about it. Not sure if people can actually see that though. But those are the arrow leaf socks. And with this wisp collection, so that's just a little sneak peek.
Those arrow leaf socks have like kind of a lace pattern, but it's not like a super open lace pattern. So that's what we had been talking about, is like, would it be too cold for winter because of the lace? But I think it would be okay because doesn't have big holes.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Actually. I think I'm gonna go for it. And so with that, this is the yarn that pattern calls for. You don't have to use it for that, of course. But we also have a skein of Farmer's Daughter Fibers. It's the Moon Sisters yarn base, which is 75% merino, 20% nylon, and it has 5% stellina in it. So there's a little sparkle.
Nice.
And this is the Mr. Pocket colorway. I don't know how well it's showing up on the screen, but it's a nice kind of olive, dark, deep olive green. So that's what we have so far. And then I was thinking that the winter ready make along, we might want to extend it. I don't think we're going to be ready to transition to spring knits yet by the end of December. So what about going to the end of January 31st?
31st? That sounds good to me. Yeah.
Okay. So people, we're still getting those winter knits in. We're going to January 31st. You can post your progress pics, your finished object pics, And then do you want to talk a little bit about Clear the Needles, Heather?
Yeah, so we have had our Clear the Needles 2020 going on all year long. And when we initially started it, we didn't really think about anything other than we wanted to clear the needles, and we wanted to see if people wanted to clear the needles along with us. But throughout the year, we've had so much chatting in that thread and so much inspiration of projects that are finally getting finished. So we do want to do some kind of giveaway at the end of that. So that's going to end on December 31st. And we'll just be looking through the Instagram hashtag Clear the Needles 2020 and the Ravelry thread and picking a winner. And we'll be figuring out a prize to send out for that sometime in the next few weeks.
Awesome. Sounds good. And we're starting to think about 2021 knit along. So more to come. All right, so come on, Heather. You have to tell us what you're wearing.
All right. Well, this is one of my, I actually have several finished objects. I thought I had nothing, but then I got a lot done. So this is the Coastal Crop Raglan by Tiff Neilan. And I'm super happy with it. This was the Impromptu Coastal Crop knit-along cast-on that I did in November. And then I had kind of paused for a minute because I was trying to figure out gauge and how to get the right size. And then I figured that out, and then I just very quickly finished it within a week because it knits up super fast. So I'll stand up to show it. You can kind of see. So the pattern is great. There's a little bit of like open work right here that I think if you look at the picture on the pattern photo, she knitted in a much lighter colored yarn and the detail shows up a lot better. So I would recommend if you knit this and you want that detail to show up to just use a lighter color. But there is this side detail that does show up in this darker color that I used. So that's just something to know for when you're choosing your yarn. This yarn is City Tweed DK from Knit Picks in the color Blue Blood. And there's a tiny bit of contrast at the collar and the sleeve cuffs.
I like
that. And that's the color Obsidian that I had left over from my Alaska pullover. And it actually worked out amazingly perfectly. I basically split what I had left in half, and it came out to be like the exact right amount for the cuffs.
And that goes really well.
Yeah, and it matches with, there's like these little like sort of gray tweedy flecks in the Blue Blood, and then it's this, I mean, obviously it's the same because it's all made by Knit Picks, so I'm sure they thought about that so that people could use the yarns together. So things about the pattern, or just how I made it. So this is a 42-inch size, and it came out exactly to 42 inches after blocking. I used the pattern calls for a larger size needle, but I knit pretty loose. So I used a size 5 for the body and a 3 for the ribbing. Clover needles forever. And the only thing that I regret from so I did gauge swatch. I swatched on a few different needles because I knew I wanted it to come out to be the size it was supposed to be. But I didn't measure my row gauge because I thought, well, it's top down, so it doesn't matter. And then after I was done, I had a debate with myself about whether to like completely wet block it, like submerge it in water, or just to spray it, because it fit already before I blocked it. But I decided to block it, like immerse it, because it was only like 40 inches. And I knew it would get to be the right width with the right amount of ease if I completely blocked it. But what I didn't think about is that it did grow a little bit in length. So on the bottom, that doesn't really bother me because it actually grew enough that I can wear it with regular pants that aren't high-waisted. So that worked out for the better. But the yoke grew a little bit, and it's kind of hard to see, but it's a little bit baggy under the arms, where if I would have paid attention to my row gauge, because at a certain point you actually just keep knitting straight to get to the right length, and I could have knit fewer rows to make that bagginess under the sleeves not happen. So that was my fault for not measuring my row gauge. So measure your row gauge, everyone.
Yeah.
But I still love it. I'm sure I'll wear it a lot. It's like, super comfy.
Yeah, and comfort is what matters. I actually like having a little space under
Mhm.
the arms there, just get that air flowing.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you're not like a knitter or a garment constructor, you probably wouldn't notice, but because I know how to knit before
Oh, exactly.
before I blocked it, I'm like, dang it.
Yeah,
But
you know.
anyway, great pattern. It's always hard for me to say because I'm not a beginner if it would be good for a beginner, but to me it seemed like it was easy to follow. And if you want a raglan that has like a little bit more interest because of that detail here and on the sides, and this is a slightly, it's not complicated at all, but there's a slightly different stitch pattern here too. Definitely recommend it.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like one you can get a lot of wear out of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool.
And you could easily, it's top down, so if you don't want it to be cropped, you could easily knit it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make it into a tunic, right? If you wanted to. That would actually kind of be cool because of the detail on the side.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Cool. Knit up so quickly. I feel like you were just talking about casting it on.
Yeah.
Knit
Well,
up.
it was a month. I was realizing it was a month ago. So, but DK, that's the magic of a DK sweater.
Nice. You have more finished objects, yeah? Do you want?
Sure, I do. Do you have any?
I have one that's pretty finished. Should I
You want to show that and then I'll show my others?
So, unfortunately, I didn't get to wear it today. I really wanted to wear it, but it's not fully dry. So it is what it is. But this is a test knit that I did actually.
I
And
don't think I've even seen this yet.
I know it's crazy. So I've been pretty much knitting monogamously, so I don't have too much to share this week. But I test knit for, her name is Handmade by Kunbi. Her name's Kunbi, and that's her name on Ravelry. And so the test is due next Friday. I knit it up in 2 weeks, so I'm a bit early. And it's her Julia's Slit skirt. And so if you go on Instagram, she already has photos of it up. So I don't know. I might have to actually stand up to even show you because it's a long. Can you see that?
Yeah. Oh, I love the detail there.
Yeah. So it's a long skirt, and there's a slit right here. Yeah, you can see this.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Is there any elastic in the waistband or is it just like a rib that cinches in?
We'll talk.
Okay.
And then a little bit closer so you can see the detail there. You can see it. And the
Yeah, it's like an eyelet pattern or something.
It's pearl ribbing. It's garter ribbing and then a slip stitch pattern.
Oh, okay. So the garter rib is what's looking like an eyelet to me. Okay, I see.
So that's the garter and that's the slip stitch pattern right there.
Okay.
Okay, so a little bit more about the pattern. It calls for a chunky weight yarn. So I use Plymouth yarn in the Burnished Heather colorway. So you'll see it's kind of a coppery color and it has yellow and burgundy speckles in there. US 10 needles. I use Chiago US 10 needles all the way through. And it's knit from the bottom up actually.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Start out knitting flat because it has this slit, and I'm not going to give any details away. And then you join in around and lots of stockinette essentially. And there are some beautiful waist decreases in here, and I like the way it's not showing up on camera, but I like.
Yeah, I can kind of see it there when you hold it up. You can see the line. Yeah.
I like the lines that it creates. This is the second size, and then she does a really good job at giving you the measurements for your waist and your hip measurements, and then the measurements of the actual garment so you can kind of decide which size you want to go with. So it's not dry yet, but your question is spot on. what she asks you to do after, she suggests you block it first. So that's what I did. And then you put it on and you add elastic to the waist based on your actual sizing. So I have not done that yet. Hence, I can't wear it and it's not completely dry. But yeah, the pattern is laid out really well. I think it is beginner friendly. Um, and it was a joy to knit, and I knit it super quickly. So I worked on that monogamously. I finished it earlier in the week. So it did take about 2 weeks to do. And I can't wait to wear it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it on.
I have so many different styling ideas. I'm like, I might have to do a legit photo shoot. I was like, I can't decide which style I prefer. So I might have to do all of the styles. And
yeah.
But
Well,
yeah.
I'm sure the designer would appreciate that too, because then people who are thinking about knitting the pattern can see the versatility, right? Like what it would look like with all different types of tops and yeah.
Yeah, because I have an idea for wearing sneakers, high-legged boots, ankle boots, leggings, no leggings, and then various ideas. So
yeah.
I might need.
Do you think you're gonna need and like a layer under it? I mean, I guess because you would wear it in winter because it's heavier, you would have that anyway.
That's why in terms of the bottom part, I have all of these different. I have various styling ideas because, if you wear it with sneakers or ankle boots, I think, and you legit want to wear it, you would need to wear leggings, right?
Yeah.
But then I have these high leg boots, and you wouldn't need leggings. The problem is, this is my color family.
Right.
So all of my boots and stuff are like that camel color. And I'm like, that's not in color, but there's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can just go for like a monochrome look.
Work it out. Mark always tells me, work it how you work it. Yeah. That's his little saying. So I'm like, I'll work it how I work it.
Nice. I apologize if you guys can hear there's like some sort of loud truck driving by and yard work going on outside. So hopefully that's not coming through too much.
I don't hear it.
Okay. Yeah. So what was it? It's bulky yarn, Erin?
Yeah, it's bulky, chunky. And the test knitters, we have a group going and people use a range of different yarns, but I think the original pattern, the designer used King Cole Tweed, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was considering Barocco as well in an olive green.
Ooh. Well, maybe you might have to make another one.
I mean, once the gift knitting is done, we'll see.
Yeah, awesome. Well, it's amazing how quickly stuff gets done when you just work on it the whole time, right?
Seriously.
Yeah.
But now it means I have 3 weeks to get the gift knitting done.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
I know. I can't believe it.
It's just 3 weeks.
Yeah.
All right,
I don't want to think about it because I got to mail stuff and I'm not ready and whatever. It's going to be fine.
All right, moving on then. Let's see your FOs.
So speaking of gifts, I have a couple. So I have one thing that's a gift. This is a gift for my sister, and I actually have no idea if she watches. So Mary, if you're watching, just fast forward or don't look. But I don't actually think she watches, but maybe she does. So just in case, look away. So this is a little cross stitch that I did. I'm not going to say too much about what's on it in case she is watching. Okay. But it relates to something that she has been posting a lot about on Instagram during the pandemic. So I just took up existing pattern and then I added, I don't know if you can see at the bottom, but I charted 2020 to put in there. Nice. So anyway, Mary, you can look again now. So I finished that, but I thought it was too cute not to share. And I'll link in the description box what the pattern is and stuff.
Sounds good.
And then other cross stitch stuff, I finished my last 2 Advent animals.
Oh, yay.
for the 24th and the 25th.
Ending it with a bang.
And I know this guy was a pain in the you know what, because it was a lot of color changing. But anyway, they're all done. Yay!
It's been a year in the making, right?
Yeah, I started them last like September or something. So
nice.
Yeah.
That's a big relief.
Yeah, it is. I'm like, okay, we can move on to other things now. So the other things I worked on, first of all, right after our last, actually it might have been right before our last episode, a friend of mine texted me that her 2.5-year-old son was like really obsessed with having a rainbow scarf and could I make one?
Aww.
So I was like, okay, sure. So I made this.
Aww.
Has already been given to him, and I forgot to ask her if I could show his picture, so we'll just look at the scarf itself. But so I took it over to them last week and he put it on and looked very handsome in his scarf. But anyway, he was super excited about it. And what I did is I used the ZickZack scarf pattern, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. And it's just a 1-row repeat that has some decreases and increases. And what I did is I alternated 2 skeins of Felici in the color rainbow. So I just started the one skein at the red and the other skein at the yellow or something and alternated them so the colors would alternate throughout. So
perfect.
Yeah, and I knit that on straight needles. And I haven't knit anything on straight needles in a long time, so I wanted to show these. And I was realizing another project I have here also was knit on needles of the same brand. And I don't really ever hear people talk about this brand, and I actually really like these needles. So these are Crystal Palace, and they're a bamboo needle company. And I did a little, these are size 2, so you can see they're very tiny. But they are, I think the Google tells me they're manufactured in Japan, but they have a distributor that's here in Richmond, which is right near Oakland. And I wasn't even sure, because I haven't bought them forever, if they still are around, but you can still get them. And they're bamboo needles, and I just really like the finish on them. So if you like bamboo needles, I recommend checking them out.
Very nice. You said the Google.
The Google.
I love it.
Professor Google knows everything. So the other thing I knit on Crystal Palace needles, which I knit on a size 10.5 circular needle. I've actually been working on this for quite a while, but it's kind of boring, so I've never showed it, but I finished it.
Yeah.
That's upside down. Another baby blanket. So this is the chevron baby blanket pattern from Pearl Soho.
Oh yeah, I know that pattern.
Yeah, I've made one before actually, several years ago. And both times that I've made it with sport weight held double. So it's actually like an Aran or bulky weight pattern, but I do it. So I had leftover Knit Picks Comfy Sport from that hexie blanket I made earlier in the year. And I just held it double basically until it ran out. And made a little baby blanket for no reason, just to have on hand.
Yeah, another part of you have your stash for when it's, to give away, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't show that one during the WIP parade.
No, I just started it actually. I started it like a couple months ago.
Oh, okay.
So after I finished the hexie blanket, I was like, what am I going to have like a ball and a half of every color left? I was like, what am I going to do with this? I actually thought about just like giving it to Goodwill or something, but then I thought, well, I could probably just double it up and.
No doubt.
Yeah. But it doesn't look like much when you're working on it because it's just garter stitch. So I just have never showed it, but finished that off. So I was happy with that. And then I have one more.
Oh yeah, I thought you finished.
Well, when I texted you that I had finally figured out how to weave in ends and brioche, that was probably
exactly. I'm thinking, I was like, oh, she's weaving in the 1,000,001 ends.
So this is Plumpy by Andrea Mowry. It blocked out to be giant because brioche grows. I always forget how much brioche grows when you're blocking it. So if you are new here, I started knitting this a long time ago. Actually, what happened, I blame Wanda because you started knitting a plumpy. And I got all excited and I was like, I need to knit a plumpy, but I don't have any like the right kind of yarn. So, but I had this big bag of sport and DK weight scraps. So I was like, I'm just going to use that. It's going to be scrappy. It's going to be so fun. And I made like a whole plan. I didn't bring it in here, but I made like a whole schematic of how I was going to put all the scraps. But then it ended up using up way more yarn than I thought it would. And so I ran out of like my initial plan for the colors. I ran out of like halfway through.
I didn't realize that.
So then I was like picking random other stuff that I had. So I love how the colors look on this end.
Yeah, yep. It's vibrant.
That was what I had originally planned to do. And then even through here where it's like more gray, I don't mind it. But then I kind of at the end, I had to put these other two colors that don't really go.
Well, it does. It goes from warm to cool.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess if you look at it that way, it does.
Yeah.
And then I blocked it out. So I feel like when I wear it, it's just so big. I'll probably wear it kind of like this so that the colors I like.
Yeah. And that's the best. It's nice. It's nice when it's nice and big like that.
Yeah.
It's comfy.
So I would not recommend making this pattern from scraps. But if you do, my tip is, so what happened, I don't know if you can see, there's a brioche section and there's a garter section and then there's a spine down the middle. So this garter section, basically the whole thing until the very last section has, the first 7 sections all have this garter part. So what I didn't think about when I first started is I was changing colors just whenever I needed a new color. And that meant that I changed colors actually most often on the brioche side. And I find it like much more fiddly to weave in ends in brioche than in garter. So if you do make this from scraps, I recommend changing colors on the garter side because it'll be a lot easier to weave the ends in.
Yep. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Glad you did it first.
But I did learn, a viewer several episodes ago had recommended watching a Nancy Marchant video about weaving in ends in brioche. And I was getting ready to do it. And then I never did because I actually all of a sudden just realized I was like, basically it's just a duplicate stitch. So that's what I did. I just duplicate stitched it. But I am still curious to go back and watch that video and see if that's what she says or if she has something even better.
So. Yeah, I'm going to have to check that out. I remember we talked about weaving in ends on brioche when I made the Union Street Charlotte. Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
so that was my second to last clear the needles thing. But I'll give an update about that at the end because it has to do with plans.
So that means there's one more clear the needles, right?
There's one more.
Okay,
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. So,
yeah.
All right, I'll share a whip.
Yay.
Okay. So this is my back panel for the favo. I can't see what you're seeing.
We see mostly, except for the ribbing, we can see it. There we go. Now we see it all.
You see it all?
Yeah. I love that honeycomb. I
adore honeycomb. I think I probably raved about this last time. So anyway, let's just let that sit like that. This is the Favo sweater by Larka Fiber Tales. It's knit with worsted weight held with mohair. So it's very nice and luscious. And it's knit in pieces. So we'll see how I feel about this by the end because this is the back panel. And it's meant to be cropped, but I went 5 inches longer than the pattern calls for. And we'll see if that's even long enough. So this is the back panel. You knit the back panel, you knit the front panel, you knit the sleeves, and then you seam it all together. And so the back panel is basically done. You'll see the left shoulder I bound off. And I'm ready to bind off on the right shoulder. If I had 15 more minutes before we podcasted, this would have been done. But I'll tell you why I had to wait. So it has this break. this braid.
Mm-hmm.
You see
Oh,
it?
wow. That's really cool.
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And you do the braid when you bind off. I'm not sure if folks are familiar with this strategy or if it's particular. This is my first time doing it. So what you'll see, the side that I haven't bound off on yet. Oh wait,
Oh, it doesn't have the braid.
mm-mm. It's two stockinette stitches.
Okay.
So you do that all the way, and then when you bind off, that's when you create this beautiful braid.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to get the pattern because now I want to know how the braid is made.
So cool. So I actually look forward to binding off and doing it, and it's like magic seeing it work up. So this panel will be done, and then I'm going to hold off on working on this. So what size needles? I think these are size 8, US 8 Chiago Old Faithful needles, because it's worsted and mohair double. So that's about right.
Mhm.
So yeah, and it's a little, because it's the honeycomb brioche is
Mhm.
it's a 4 round repeat. This is a little bit um it's uneven right now.
Right. But once you block it, it'll block out. Yeah.
Exactly. Once I block it. And then this is a Solena Tejeda stitch marker.
Oh, is that the elote?
Yeah, that's the elote. So cute. I think that's it for this pattern, but
Love it. When you knit the fronts, are you going to knit them one at a time or are you going to knit them two at a time?
the front.
Mm-hmm. Or it's, or sorry, not the front, the sleeves.
So I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to talk to you about that. Because they're not on the body, so it is even more of an opportunity to knit them 2 at a time. But I'm also unsure. I don't know if I'm thinking about just diving in and giving it a try, but it's also honeycomb brioche in the round. And so I'm not 100% sure how different that's going to be from honeycomb brioche flat, but I love knitting it flat. But I read some of the comments, people were saying that honeycomb in the round was a little bit more challenging for them. So I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
I'll look in.
I didn't realize that the sleeves were not knit flat also, but I guess that makes sense. It'll be.
I think some people said they ended up knitting it flat because it was easier for them. And then seaming, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I personally don't mind seaming, but I know it's like you do have to think about like adding extra stitches for the seaming, and I don't know.
And there's already a lot of seaming in this sweater. So I'm going to knit them in the round. I'm not even going to pretend. And then I'll see if I'm going to do it 2 at a time. But I am planning on doing Mark's sweater, his sleeves 2 at a time.
Okay.
I think because we've talked about this before and you said I appreciate that. So, but I think I'm going to do your strategy where the sweater's in the project bag filled up and then I just have the sleeves poking out. So we'll see.
Yeah, it definitely makes it easier. Even on this, which the sweater body is not that long, by the time I got to the end of the sleeve and it was like all twisted, it was driving me crazy. So
yeah. Did you do it for that?
I didn't put it in the bag because the sweater body is only like that long, but then I still was regretted it. So
I hear you. Did you do the sleeves 2 at a time on that or no?
I didn't. No, I didn't one at a time because I started off on a 16-inch needle as far as I could go, and then I just magic looped the rest.
That's the other thing because I do like doing it on the 16-inch needle. We'll see. We'll decide.
Yeah.
All right. So that's like a third finished object since it's knit in pieces. A quarter.
Right. Yeah. A TO, a third object as opposed to a half object.
A toe.
A toe. You heard it here first. A toe. Well, I'll share one of my WIPs. Do you have any others?
I do.
Okay. Do you want to go back and forth?
Okay. Yep.
So I picked up Shifty. This one belongs. get it done. But I was going through a couple weekends ago, sometime when we were on vacation over, I had the whole week of Thanksgiving off. And sometime during that week, I went through my stash and just like got stuff organized and put together projects and patterns I already had and stuff, and then was looking at my WIPs and what I wanted to try to get finished before the end of the year. So I saw Shifty and I was like, all right. So I didn't really do much on it. I knit a couple more colors. So this is Shifty by Andrea Mowry. I'm using Rowan wool cotton, which is actually discontinued yarn. And Verb for Keeping Warm dress circle. And these are, I don't know what size needles, but they're Licca. So anyway, I just knit a few more rounds and I'm so close to splitting for the sleeves.
That's that hump you have to get over.
I just have to so I worked on it for a few days and then I put it aside again. And I've been measuring the yoke because I don't want to have the same row gauge problem.
Yeah.
So I think I need to do another set of blips and then I can split for the sleeves. So anyway, I pulled that out and when I pulled it out, I was like, I do really like these colors.
Yeah.
And I want to wear this sweater.
Yes. Yes. It's a beautiful sweater.
Yeah.
Maybe between you and I, that'll be one of our 2021.
Yeah, finishes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, because and it's also just like this brown is like a really nice warm brown. And I can't believe I've had this yarn in my stash for like 15 years and never.
I love it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my brief update on Shifty.
Nice. And that's a good tip in terms of measuring the row gauge as you go. I'm going to have to do that too.
Yeah.
I know my row gauge is off. All right. So I do have a half object.
Ooh.
Gift knitting alert. So that is, this is the youngest son's Christmas sock. Knit with the same yarn as the other sock. So it's Fibrelia self-striping yarn and then a contrast heel and toe. Mark's been giving me advice, so we keep it pretty simple so the boys can wear it and it's versatile for them. So the other one was like black and this one we got the navies going on.
Yeah.
This one is done.
Did you have Oh, sorry. I was going to ask if you had 2 skeins of that yarn.
No, so the way Fibrelia does it is she does break it up for you so that you have the even skein.
Okay.
And it's ready to go so that they're coordinated. And this is a regular vanilla sock. What I did differently on this is I did 2x2 ribbing. I realized I think I like 2x2 ribbing more than 1x1. I had always been doing 1x1. And then a regular slip stitch heel. You guys know that, right? And then I did the Finchley graft again using Mars Hey Brownberry's tutorial. I like the Finchley graft.
Yeah.
It's easy to turn to you know what I'm trying to
I
say.
know.
And then here's the other one. I was like, let me cast on second sock right away. And what I did with this pair is I'm using the 9-inch circulars and it goes so much faster. I was surprised. I mean, I finished this skirt and that whole sock since our last podcast.
Yeah.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So the 9-inch circulars are quick. I didn't want to do 2 at a time again.
Yeah.
I might sometime in the future, but
yeah. So was it easy to adjust to the knitting on that smaller circumference needle?
It took a little bit. It's a little bit uncomfortable and I noticed myself cramping up a little bit more. But the way I knit, and I think you and I spoke about this before, it does lend itself more to it because I think you can't grip and knit it. You have to kind of hold them out.
Yeah.
And then I have to remember to like relax and not be tense so that I don't cramp up. But yeah, you adjust.
Yeah.
And just speed along. I finished the foot in one evening.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that is fast.
That's not like me.
Yeah.
Up to the toe. I hadn't done the toe, but the foot.
Yeah. You're going to easily be able to get those done in
Let's
time for
knock on
Christmas.
wood. So I have 3 weeks to get those socks done and Mark's sweater done.
Mm-hmm.
But the socks are a priority. Mark can always wait.
Yeah. The sock, you can get a sock done in a week.
Oh
If
yeah,
you work on it on those needles every night.
I
Yeah.
I can get those socks done in a week, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
Um, well, I have two other things. I've continued working on my Felici helical stripe socks. And you could probably see that better today than you could last time because my light's better. So I'm alternating, and then I just need to put the heel on this one, and then I'm alternating, and I started the second one on size 0 carbons needles. So I'm alternating these two skeins of Felici Jamboree and Limeade.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't get over how much I love this plan of alternating skeins of Felici.
That looks great. Such a good idea. Mm.
Yeah. So those are hopefully be done soon.
And those are for, oh yeah, I know who those are for.
Yeah, they're a gift for somebody who I think watches, so we won't say any more about that. But
I almost, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't say
but anyway, yeah, so I'm super excited.
Yeah, those are cool.
And that's been really just nice, when I'm watching TV or doing something mindless knitting.
Yeah.
And one of my 2021 plans is I have a lot of Felici, and I really enjoy knitting with it, even just knitting it plain or in this helical. So I want to try to maybe work through my stash and make a bunch of gift socks.
I love it.
Yeah.
So you'll make a bunch of gift socks and I'll make a bunch of socks for myself.
Right.
That's the 2021 plan.
Well, I barely made any gift socks this year. Like normally I do make quite a few, but one of the things I was realizing about like this whole clear the needles situation is that, well, I had two realizations. This is kind of a tangent, but I'll go on right now.
No,
I had two realizations. One of them was that I did do a lot less gift knitting because I was busy. Most of the stuff that had been languishing was stuff for me, because if it's a gift, I finish it quickly so it'll be done in time to give it to the
point. Yeah.
recipient, right? So I didn't knit barely any socks for gifts, which I normally do that all throughout the year. I didn't knit really any hats for, like, I just didn't knit any of the normal like gift type stuff that I would knit.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing I realized is a lot of the stuff I've finished for Clear the Needles, it's not that I don't like it, but I'm also kind of like, okay, like I'm glad it's done, but it's not like calling to me, as opposed to this sweater, which I bought the yarn, cast on, knit it, and I'm like, yay, now I'm going to wear this for the next 3 months.
That makes a lot of sense. The things that have been lingering for a while, they were lingering because you weren't as excited about them.
Right.
Right. And then you knock out the ones that you are excited about, or there's some level of accountability because it's a gift. So that means 2021, you'll pretty much have a fresh start.
Almost. I hope so. And I'm excited about it because I feel like then I can be more, just thoughtful about like, what do I want to wear if I'm making it for myself, or what do I want to make for somebody, and aesthetically choose things to make that I aesthetically want to make right now.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's been my strategy. I'm trying to make sure that, because I'm putting time and energy into it, I'm not as fast as a knitter. So if I'm going through all of that, I want that gratification of actually loving it and wearing it often, or knowing that other people will appreciate it. So yeah. I have a friend who requested socks for me, and I love her dearly, so I will knit those, but I don't think it'll be in time. It won't be in time for Christmas. And then I was thinking of knitting a pair of socks for Mark's eldest as well, but that's obviously, I was talking to Heather about the possibility of cramming those in by Christmas, but I don't think that's going to happen. So. And then otherwise the socks will be for me, unless I get any other requests from people who I feel like putting the time and energy into that for.
Right. Are you knit worthy? Let me think.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone is, but we have to make some choices. Well,
Right.
not everyone, but
Yeah.
most folks are. They deserve some knit socks.
Yeah.
Maybe
Especially knit socks. Until people have tried them, they don't know what they're missing if they don't have any.
but I just thought of it, DK weight shorties
Oh, yeah.
for other folks.
It would take like 2 days.
Yeah, done and done. So are we talking about future plans now or?
Well, I have one more WIP.
Okay.
I'll show that and then. Okay, so I have been talking for a while about how I wanted to make a Christmas sweater.
Oh yeah.
From this Canna sweater pattern. The designer's name is Erica Kemp Broaden. And I don't need to describe the colors I'm using because I have it. So what I really liked about this pattern is you can't really see it on that picture. But I really liked the asymmetrical stripes. So I cast this on a few weeks ago, I don't know when I cast it on, a few weeks ago, I think. And have been working on it off and on. So there it is.
Such a beautiful green. And those pop.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. So this is, I'm knitting it on size 1 needles.
My hat goes off to you.
How do I get myself into these? Couple things about this. Okay, so first thing is I never had a yarn bowl before. I think you have a yarn bowl, right?
I don't.
Oh, I thought you did for some reason. Well, anyway, when Knit Picks had their sale, these were on like a special deal for that day. So I got myself a yarn bowl. This has been a game changer for this because I'm using leftover yarn and a lot of it is in balls rather than cakes. And it has been so helpful to just stick it in here and not have it like jumping off the couch and rolling around. So anyway.
Nice.
But I have about a skein and a half of this green, which is a Cascade Heritage sock from a long time ago from another sweater. And then I had a set of Christmas minis from Hugh Loco that I had gotten a couple years ago when I made a bunch of Christmas socks and I just never used them. So this color, this brighter red, the bright green, and the pink are from that mini set. And then the last 2 minis one of them was too close to the main color to use, and the other one was like a black or a navy, and I didn't want that because I wanted brighter minis. So then I just had in my jar of scraps, I had these 2, which are Sweet Georgia, and I don't know the name of the colorway, but a maroon and a aqua. Yeah. So anyway, it's a little bit scrunched up, but I'm on the asymmetrical part right now.
That's gonna look so cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I did try it on when I got after I split for the sleeves, and it does fit. It's definitely going to grow a little bit because it's super washed, but I can also put it in the dryer if it gets too big. And the only thing I might have made a mistake doing this, but the designer has a note about, so you can see it here. You do the asymmetrical stripes by doing short rows. And so for most of the sweater, you knit until you get there, and then you do the garter stripe, you go around and then you come back, and then you knit the next few rows all the way around. And it's based on the premise that the garter stitch gauge is basically 2 rows of garter stitch is basically the same as 1 row of stockinette gauge wise. But there's a small section under the arm that stays plain the whole time, that even with that gauge gets significantly less. There's significantly fewer rows under the one arm than the other. So she says in the pattern, don't worry about it. It's not going to be a problem. I blocked it. It's fine. But I was just worried about it. So what I ended up doing is I added a second section of short rows just to get this underarm section more or less caught up to the other underarm. So we'll see if I regret that, because she specifically said you didn't have to do it, but I am not following directions. So we'll see.
Well, we'll see. I'm sure it'll, well, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. I think it should be fine, because I've been like counting the rows every time and making sure it stays the same. So I think as long as it's the same and I don't get too many. So I'm not doing a short row every time. I'm only doing it like however often I need to make it the right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I'm super excited. So that's definitely going to be done
For Christmas.
hopefully in time to wear to my work holiday party, which is on the 18th, but we'll see.
All right.
Yeah, so that's it. So plans.
I'm knitting monogamously. So I'm going to finish that sock. I'm going to finish Mark's sweater. And then once I'm done finishing those two, which will probably be after the holiday, I'll pick the favo back up. And then there are lots of things that I have in my queue that I can't wait to make. Mark requested another hat. So we browsed, and there's one that we're looking at right now. So we'll see, to be continued. And yeah, my holiday sweater is not going to be my holiday sweater, but I still want to make the heirloom jumper. And I'm also looking at what is that? The name of it? The one I shared with you. I spent hours looking at yarn for it.
Oh, the one that has the mohair and the.
Yeah, the fine lines or something jumper.
Yeah, that's what it's
called. I saw it on Caddy Jack's Knits podcast. Lily made it, and it's gorgeous. So we'll put the details in the description box. So we'll see how I prioritize those projects, and tons of socks. I think I don't know if we spoke about this before, but Cloudborn has been having us is going out of business or something. So I don't know what's happening. Their yarn is being discontinued so on sale on webs. So I bought a bunch of sock yarn. And I had bought some. I have some sport weight too, because I was planning on making it, and I'm still planning on making mittens. So.
Yeah, I didn't buy any of the sock yarn, but I did buy a bunch of the Cloudborn fingering. That's more of like a toothier color work yarn.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be excited to cast some of that on after I clear the needles.
Cool. And I got both their Highland sock and their merino sock. Because there's a cardigan that I might be making as well that I bought that yarn for. To be continued.
To be continued.
These are 2021 plans.
Yes, these are 2021 plans.
We've spoken about it. It's the Intarsia, but it's a different one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I really enjoy knitting Intarsia. I think Intarsia gets a bad rap.
Well, I'll report back.
Yeah.
That'll be an adventure, a new adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, like these short rows on this sweater, that's basically sort of the same idea as Intarsia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a whole project. Okay, we'll come back to that.
We'll come back to it. And actually, I have yarn for an Intarsia project I've been wanting to make forever also. So
Intarsia knit along.
Interesting. Okay, we'll just
21. Oh, yes, that's one of our 2021 plans.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Because I've never actually done an Intarsia garment. I've done blankets and pillows and stuff, but yeah. So my knitting plans are, so I am down to 9 total WIPs. I'm below 10.
Yes.
My personal internal goal, we haven't talked about if we're going to do a WIP parade.
We're educators.
Yeah, yay. We haven't talked about if we're going to do a WIP parade at the end of this year or not, but my personal competitive goal is to have fewer WIPs than Wanda when we do our WIP parade at the end of the year.
I don't know if that's gonna happen. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see.
So I have 9 right now.
Okay.
Um, only 2 of those are remaining from 2019, and one of them is like an ongoing scrap blanket, so I'm not really counting that. And
Mhm.
the other one, actually, technically, I already did finish it. It's my Audrey and Unst that the sleeves were too tight on. So I have it here. And I did start working on redoing one of the sleeves.
Mhm.
So that my first goal is to finish the sleeves on this Audrey so that can actually be finished and put buttons on it. And then I want to get down to 5 WIPs by December 31st. That's my goal.
Oh, so that's 4. And okay.
Yeah. So this and 3
And
others. I think I want to finish that Christmas sweater, those socks that are a gift.
mhm.
So then I just have to finish one other thing.
Okay. You can do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll have fewer whips than me. Maybe I'll frog a few projects.
I That's funny. Well, I mean, knowing me, I'll probably cast 3 more things on, so
Yeah. This will be interesting. I forgot about the whip parade. It'll be a different from last year for sure, right?
yeah,
Way fewer way fewer whips.
way fewer because I think I had like 22 or 23 last year.
Amazing. Oh, what a year brings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I brought one more thing. I brought Christmas craft because I was getting out my decorations.
Mhm.
So if you guys are interested in seeing that, I'll show that real quick.
They're not the stockings, are they? Or
Okay, so first of all, no, they're not the stockings.
okay.
I have a question about what happened to your crochet blanket.
Oh, dang, you're putting me on the spot. It's sitting. I
Okay.
will return to it in the new year. I used the crochet hook for the favo sweater, so
Oh, nice. Oh,
yeah,
for the braid.
yeah, for the braid. It's on
I was
my radar. I'm going to have to relearn the stitch that I'm using by the time I pick it back up.
I was thinking about this when I got this out. I was like, wait a minute, Wanda had a crochet blanket. So this is an Afghan that I made. Okay, it's from this book, which is called Afghans from All Seasons, which was published in 1993.
Hmm.
And I think I bought it probably around that time because I definitely made this Afghan when I was in college. I think I made it in like 1995 or 96.
Hmm.
And I have knit a ton of patterns out of this. So leisure arts, there's like 52 patterns in this. In 1993, it was 14.95, but I've made like at least 7 or 8 of these Afghans. But this is my Christmas tree Afghan.
It's perfect.
It basically just goes like on and on and on and on of the same
Oh, that's
pattern.
pretty big.
But I just thought that would be fun to show. And it's kind of cool because, I learned how to crochet when I was in high school. So I've been crocheting for a really long time. And it's cool to see both like what you can do when you're a relative beginner, because this was probably only the 3rd or 4th blanket I made that actually followed a pattern.
Yeah.
And I think it looks pretty good, right? I know 100% for sure that it's made out of Red Heart yarn. If I had to do it over again, I would have picked a more of a maroon color
Mhm.
for the red, because now when I put it out every year, I'm like, it's just like a little bit like right to me.
It pops.
But yeah, I was trying to remember today. I was trying to think, where did I even get the yarn? But I think I probably got it at a big box store that carries craft materials. And yeah, I love it. But the thing that was so interesting to me too is one way that I've grown is I just crocheted over my ends at that time. Like that's what I'd been taught to do. So I don't know if you can see at the top of every tree, you can see the green end.
Oh yeah.
And that's always kind of bugged me, but at the time I didn't really know what to do to fix it. So I got it out this year and I thought, I could just like pop all those ends out and weave them in better. But then I thought, no, I should leave it because it's like a reminder of,
Where you've come from.
when I was like 20 years old, what I was doing. So
Love that.
anyway, but I just thought I would share that because I really love the pattern on this. And it's just fun and festive.
Yeah.
So
Trip down memory lane.
leisure arts Afghans for all seasons. I'm sure you can probably find it on eBay or something if you're looking for it. Or maybe they still publish it. I don't know.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let us know. Check in with us, people. Let us know what you've been working on. If you're gift knitting at all, if you've been thinking about your plans for 2021 and kind of clearing your needles, getting those whips down, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, if you want to try some Intarsia in 2021, it sounds like we have a developing idea here.
Yep. So start exploring, or you might have something in your queue. What else?
Yeah.
Talking about socks.
Socks. Yeah. Any plans for socks for next year
Yeah.
or are you going to leave it open and knit as the spirit moves you?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, it was great to spend some time with you guys again today. And we probably will come back at least maybe one more time before the end of this year. Because 3 weeks would be the very end of December.
It will. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see you one more time in 2020 and then on to 21.
So insane.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.